Hello everybody, my name's John Wheeler and I want to share with you today a secret that most people never really get let into, and it's simply this: that there is a God in heaven who loves you and wants to give you eternal life. But there's one condition, and the condition is simply this: that you have to believe that what God says is true. It's believing that saves you. And most people never really understand that. They think that in order to become a Christian, you need to be somebody who does good things, or someone who goes to church, or who gives their money away. But none of that will save you. That's just the result of being a Christian, because when you become a Christian, you want to go to church and you want to do good things, because becoming a Christian is experiential, not intellectual. God does something to you that changes your life completely. It's called being born again, and it's like when you start believing what God says is true, something happens to you. And for me, it was like I had an hand grenade explode on the inside that changed my life, and did it in an instant. Let me share a little bit with you about my story. As you can probably hear by my accent, I was born in Bermondsey, grew up in a council flat, never spoke about God in our house. Religion was one of those no-go areas that South Londoners really want to exclude from their life. We were quite poor in monetary terms, but I always wanted to do well. I mean, my mum would describe us as a family as being hard up and happy. I got into mischief, as most young teenagers did back in those days, doing all sorts of things really to try and make a few bob. All my friends, they were saying that was really a simple way of life. You did really all sorts of things, but everybody did it. And I can't really go into details what we used to get up to, but we got up to, a few things that I'm not proud of. But anyway, I just wanted to do well. I wanted to own my own home. I wanted to get out of that situation of really never having enough money from week to week. And I was really determined to do well. Left school at 15, no qualifications, just had a degree in street cred. Left 15, and I remember my first wage packet. I worked all week for £3, 10 shillings, which is £3.50. Can you imagine working a whole week for £3.50? But I thought if you start at the bottom, you can work your way up to the top. I was taken out an apprenticeship in the print, and began serving that apprenticeship, which I finished when I was 21 and got made redundant. All the time I wanted to do really well, and at the age of 18 I met this beautiful young woman called Sheila, who came into my life. She was different. She wasn't like my mates. She didn't swear. She didn't tell bad, dirty jokes or say anything bad about people. She was just a lovely, beautiful woman. Beautiful on the outside and beautiful on the inside. We got married when we were 20 years old, 20-year-olds. And that was 51 years ago, and we're still happily married today. But even marrying Sheila, I knew there was something missing in my life, something that something I needed to experience, that I wasn't satisfied. We had our first child. Our first child, Kerry, was born 16 months after we got married. But again, even with a wife and a daughter, I should have been satisfied, but I wasn't. There was still something missing in my life. At the age of 21, I started a business with my brother. We were selling office furniture, and we'd done really well. We were making lots of money. I managed to buy my own home, which was something that I'd always aspired to do. I had nice cars. I even bought a Rolls Royce. And I was doing well. We had 6 shops. But still, there was something missing, and I knew that. Anyway, before I bought my first house, we lived next door to a group of guys who were Christians. At first, I didn't want to have anything to do with them because, they were people who went to church, and in my understanding, churchgoers were hypocrites, really. They had sandals, always wearing sandals, and the men had beards, and if you shook hands with one of them, it was like shaking hands with a wet fish. That was my understanding of what Christians were like, but these guys were not like that. There was something different about them, which I immediately found attractive. I was still searching, even though I had the cars, the money, I had all sorts of things that should have satisfied me, but I was still searching because I knew something was missing. I now know it was that God-shaped hole that is in every one of us, and if you're listening to this and you're not a Christian, you probably know what I mean, because God puts that there, because he wants you to really to search for him. Anyway, I knew there was something different. They had a peace about them that I found really attractive. And I kept asking them, what is it? How do you get it? How do you get what you've got? And the simple answer was that you don't earn it. It's something that's given to you. And it comes really simply by believing in God. So I said, well, how do I get it? How can I get what you've got? And I remember somebody said to me, all you need to do is apologise to God for doing things that you shouldn't have done and ask him to come into your life. And I said, no, it can't be as easy as that. And I was told, yeah, just a simple prayer is what saves you. Anyway, that night, I thought, well, let's give it a go. I prayed. It's the first time I'd ever prayed. I said to God, if you're there, can you come into my life? I went off to sleep and had this amazing dream. I dreamt that Jesus was flying through the air like a sort of Superman, Super Jesus, and I was holding on to his robe, and I remember him looking back at me and saying, as long as you hold on, you'll be all right. Man, I woke up in the morning the next day. Everything had changed. Everything was different. I felt forgiven. I felt clean. I knew God loved me. I was driving up, I remember I was driving up Crystal Palace going to work in my Triumph Herald that I had at the time, and I saw blue skies and trees, and it was like something had lifted off me. That was 51, was it 51? No, sorry, it was 44 years ago. 44 years. God has done amazing things in my life. He's changed me, and he did it in an instant. And you know what? It's still the same today. as it was all those years ago. The same feeling, the same sense of peace. And it came through a simple prayer. I just trusted that God was there, and I asked him to save me, and he did. And you know what? If you ask him to save you, he will, because he promises to. And you, like me, will be born again, and everything will be different. And you'll want to be someone who does good things, and you'll want to be someone who goes to church. So why don't you give it a chance? Try it. You've got nothing to lose. If God saved me, as I said, he can save anybody. Even you. Nobody's too bad, or nobody's too good. But you're saved by believing what God says. God bless you. Have a good day. And why not you pray and ask God to save you? Amen.